Hello, 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 and welcome to our Queen of Worth conversation today.
Yes.
I'd like to, yes, welcome, Donna. So happy to have you. We were just saying, hey, we're going to get naked, but naked not the way you think we're going to get naked. Of course, we want people to like tune in. We're going to get naked about the truths and the lies of $1 million business. So does that sound? I'm sure some of you are like, "Ooh, all right, this sounds
Ooh.
intriguing."
Yeah,
All
we're
right,
going there. We're
we're
going.
going there. We're
We're
going
going.
there. We're going to talk about the things that like no one is really telling you the truth. And so, first, before we get into it, I want to introduce you to my dear friend Donna McPherson, CPA rock star. She serves business owners wanting a profitable company that will increase their net worth and personal freedom. Her book, The Price of Fake is Real: How to Stop Pretending and Gain Real Business Success, highlights pitfalls that lead to business failures and shares strategies for real success. Donna believes entrepreneurs who align with their vision, my favorite word is align,
Yeah.
um, with a clear and purposeful action plan will achieve business and financial success. So, welcome, 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 Donna. I want to
Thank
share.
you. Thank you. Thank you, Kelly. I am excited to be here. We have these conversations that we're just happy to. I'm just happy to share them with the rest of your audience.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, to give you a genesis of how I decided to have Donna on, is we were in conversation maybe a month and a half ago or so. And we were talking about $1 million mindset and what it takes, and how most people are just focusing on one number, and that number is a million.
Yeah.
And there aren't a whole lot of conversation behind the veil of what does that really mean. And so we just were in this conversation. I said, you know what, I wish this was recorded because so many people can gain so much value. So we're like, all right, then we're just going to recreate it. So here we are, ready to recreate. And so before we go into the content, Donna, like, can you give the audience just a little bit about your background and why you came to be the Donna McPherson, a profitability CPA coach and visionary?
Oh my goodness. So, believe it or not, my original decision was to become a nurse. It was not in financial, it was in healthcare. But, I think they're similar. Your health is your wealth, they say.
Mm-hmm.
So when that didn't work out, because I found out I had to do a 6-month internship that was unpaid, and I was taking care of myself, so I couldn't afford it. So I said, okay, the next best thing, I'll try the accounting thing, and
Mm-hmm.
let's see how that goes. And I liked it, and I decided to become a CPA, and that worked out well. And I've done the gamut from audit to controller to CFO, and then I became a business owner. And I went out on my own in 2008, started a practice, made a lot of the rookie mistakes, like setting up office without one customer. Ooh. And,
Ouch.
and that morphed into real estate ventures and then a restaurant that I owned for about 7 years with my partner. And after that, I was ready to just put 100% of my effort back into business. But what I did differently, Kelly, is in the past, I was an accountant that came at the end of the year, or I did some accounting during the year and taxes at the end of the year. And then I figured out what business owners need is not someone to come at the end. They need someone to go at the beginning and show them the way so they can truly make money and achieve financial independence or security or ultimate freedom. So that's how I'm in this space now.
Beautiful, beautiful. So advocating some mentorship, some guidance, so you don't make the same mistakes, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. So let's talk a little bit about the ideas that you and I were sharing the other day,
Uh-huh.
which is what's the problem? What's the problem with focusing on getting to a million and that being your sole focus? What really, it doesn't seem like that's such a bad thing, but you and I were getting real and we're like, oh, we need to talk about that. So what's the
Yeah.
problem?
I mean, the idea of having $1 million business is phenomenal. It is great if you can have $1 million business that is highly profitable based on your industry. Because for every industry, there is a guideline of what your profit margin should be. Most people, most entrepreneurs do not understand that and they do not know what the guideline is for their industry. So they're focusing on the million and not understanding for some industries, you can generate $1 million in top level revenue and
Mhm.
earn 100,000 because that's what the industry standard is based on what it takes to grow $1 million business. The amount you have to spend in cost of goods, in staffing, in infrastructure, and all of the things. So when you see $1 million business, it really doesn't mean as much unless you're really clear about whether it's a service-based business, a product-based business, and so on. And for a product-based business, you can have $1 million, like I said, and see maybe 100,000 if that much. Now, if it's a service-based business, you can do really well if you manage your revenue properly,
Mhm.
and if you work within certain frameworks. But this is what I know from experience.
Yeah.
You want to hear the truth?
I want to know. Bring
I
it.
get, I get to go, I get to see behind the curtain of a
Mhm.
lot of businesses. And at that level, many are not bringing home not even half that amount,
Yeah.
50%, not even 40%, 30%.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's
And that's heartbreaking. It really is heartbreaking. But we can, I think so many people hide behind the numbers and it might pump them up like, oh, I've got $1 million business. But I was recently in a room where we were talking about this, and this woman spoke of $1 million broke, $1 million
woo,
broke, and I was like,
woo.
dang, that's some good IP, right? $1 million broke, and it's a real deal. I mean, there are people that will even generate losses year after year after year. And so I think we're talking about the wrong numbers. Like there are broke millionaires. Do you want to talk about that and speak to
Yeah,
that and how that lands for you?
absolutely. There's this thing that I say, and I shared it with you earlier, that revenue without profit is similar to being a business owner without a paycheck. They're both
Yes.
just vanity metrics. And
Hmm.
you have to decide, are you more concerned about having $1 million business, or are you more concerned about having $1 million business that will pay you a specific amount? Because if you're looking at being paid a specific amount, that's what you bring home for yourself. You may not need $1 million to pay you that. So first decide on what do you want for yourself? How much? What is your number? Are you looking to pay yourself 300,000,
Hmm.
400,000, 500,000?
Yeah.
Focus on that and then reverse engineer what you need in order to accomplish that. The expenses that you will have to incur in your business, the taxes you will have to pay, all of that, you back into that and see if it is $1 million. It
Yeah.
could be less than $1 million. It could be more. But the thing is, so many people
Yeah. Yeah.
putting there this $1 million business without breaking it down and
Yeah.
letting people understand that that might not be their number.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. It's kind of like, would you like $1 million business where you're bringing home $500,000, or $1 million business where I remember hearing somebody, there was a CPA that was a client of mine, and the CPA was working with someone, and literally they were $1 million business, right? So that comes off, you're like, oh wow, that person you might think is successful. Maybe they even received accolades, but this person was only bringing home like 30,000.
Wow.
And that's like ears back. Like, are you kidding me?
Yes, it happens.
That's what I'm talking about. $1 million broke.
Yes, that is
Nobody's
the
talking about
dilemma.
it.
And I heard this woman, she spoke at a conference I was at, and she said when she hit the 7 figure mark, she was so excited. But in a few years, she was broke. She lost it all.
Yeah.
She was generating 7 figures but had no money. She had to start over. And when she started over, she did it right. So now she's in a better position. Because
Yeah.
most people make money, they just go out and generate revenue without a plan for what
Yeah.
they're going to do with the money when they receive it. before, if you're going after big money, you need a big plan. You need a
Yeah.
framework, a system, a method that
Right.
lets you know what's going to happen with this money when it comes into your business to ensure that you are keeping what you should. Otherwise, like I said, it's revenue without profit.
Yeah.
Means absolutely nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. It doesn't. It doesn't. And so why we continue, because I know there are a lot of companies that are really supportive. Specifically, you and I are both, we met
Mhm.
in eWomen, right? And both have served as premier success coaches and met a lot of women. Um, and yeah, this is the real conversation that's not really being spoken. What kind of lies do you think? I like to come from the standpoint of lies. Like, do you think that there are lies that keep on getting retold? So we have this kind of like this revenue thing, but do you have any lies that you would like to debunk
So I
from the
spoke on
business?
this. I spoke last week at the Orange County chapter of
Uh-huh.
eWomen Network, and one of the things I spoke on is people often say that I was challenging people if they can use an upgrade in the amount and how they pay themselves.
Mm,
And I said, here, before you even say it, here are some of the reasons people give that they don't need extra money. They want to wait until their business is profitable. I don't
mhm.
need to pay myself now because my business is making enough money. When it's profitable, I'll pay myself. Or I'll wait until, oh, I need to promote more. If I
Right.
take the money out of my business, I'm not going to be able to promote. And the biggest one is I don't really need the money. I have other sources of income.
Oh yeah.
Really?
Okay. Yeah.
If you go into business and you don't need the money, then why are you in business?
Right.
You can go into business to serve and do well, but the money allows you to serve more,
Yep.
serve better, and meet your obligations. Because if you have a business and you're generating revenue and you keep showing losses, the IRS can convert your business into a hobby. And a
Mm.
hobby business, they do not allow the expenses, so they tax you 100% on the revenue that you generate. If you're
I did not know that. Little intel with Donna. Okay.
so consistent losses every year
Yeah.
looks like a hobby because you don't need the money. You're not showing any money.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
not doing any profit.
Yeah.
So why are you in business?
And I'm so glad you're using the term hobby because I have called people out on that of like, is this a hobby or is this a business? Because a hobby you can go out and do it just because you love it, right? And you don't need to track the numbers
Right,
and everything.
exactly.
And I think when it comes to like really standing in leadership, it can be a real call out, especially for women. I mean, you and I both work with a lot of women, and that call out is like, what is this? Because we stand in the identity. Now, I do a lot of you and I've talked about this. You do a lot of that structural work,
Yeah.
right? Of like getting the numbers, looking at the numbers. I don't look at people's numbers. I mean, we help them to set goals and visions, where you get into the nitty gritty, and
I
I
get
love that.
right down knee deep in the numbers.
Exactly. You're like knee deep in numbers. You're the numbers
Whether
queen.
it's good, bad, or whatever.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I like to do a lot of like that inner game. So where you and I pair really well is like, okay, what is this profit generating next level quantum level business? Like what is it? What is that vision? And you and I could probably help people to paint that vision. And then where you would really support them is that, okay, what is that structure? What does that structure look like? What is the minutia of the numbers, especially for people who don't love numbers?
Yeah.
Where I'm going like, well, who do you need to be? What do you need to focus on? Like there's just the inner game and the outer game, and we need both as business
Because
owners.
here's another truth that's
Mm-hmm.
often being hidden.
Yeah.
When people say they don't need the money, I
Yep.
really believe if they really think they don't have the ability to generate it.
Ooh,
Either
that's a good one.
either they don't believe that they have the ability or have the capacity or something.
Yeah.
I really don't believe anyone who goes into business,
Yeah.
especially if this is their sole source of income, does not want the money.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think it's a big fat lie. I don't think it's
Ooh,
a
that's good.
They don't
Yeah.
want the money. They do
Yeah.
want the money. They don't believe that they can generate the money. So they back off of it and
Yeah.
say, I only want this much.
Yeah. So true. And that
And
speaks
that's
to,
where they need you
yes.
to them understand that they can have it
Yes.
if they're really ready for it. And then I show them how they can have it based on what their current skills are, their mindset, their
Yep.
ability to generate revenue, and then how they structure their offers. Because we
Absolutely.
all
It's huge.
got skills and talents. And that's what people don't like to hear the word, that's what we're selling. But that's what we're selling. We're
Yeah.
selling our gifts, skills, and talents. How you
Absolutely.
position, structure, and price it is going to determine whether or not you make money on it or whether you lose money.
Absolutely. And I think that let's get real, about the conversation around sales, because at the end of the day, you're selling yourself. These are no matter what business you're in, the reason people buy, yes, it's the result that they're going to give you. But how are they going to choose, Donna over another CPA? It's who Donna is being, and there's that affinity. It's like that confidence and that relationship, a relationship to money. I think a lot of women that at least in the beginning stages, they'll say, oh, I'm just not I hear a lot, I'm not motivated by money. And I'm
Yeah,
like, well, if you're in business, I get it that it's not the thing that gets you like so excited in the morning, but like we're going to need to take a look at that, because you're in business to make money, right? Let's get real. Yes, it's to share your genius and your passions, and you love people and all the things, but you
but
better
doing
fall in
what?
love. You better fall in
Doing
love with money.
those things,
Yes.
sharing your passion, your skills,
Yes.
and all that. You need money to let people know that you have it. You have to
Absolutely.
promote. You
I,
have to have a system to deliver it. So you
yep.
need the money to do that. And this
Exactly.
thing about not wanting to talk about it,
Yeah.
I think there's something else behind that. And
I agree.
yeah, I was speaking with someone earlier this week who wanted to work with me, and she said, well, there's some things about my money situation that I am not ready to share. And I said, I understand.
Yeah.
If we're going to work together, you're going to
Mhm.
have to share because the only way I can help you is I'm literally going to have to know. And she said, well, how much? How much information do you need? I said, let me put it to you this way. I'm going to get deep down in your business.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Get
Yes.
naked. Like I said, like let's get
When it
real.
comes to your money, you're going to
Yep.
have to be prepared to be naked if you
Yep.
want me to help you get to a better place.
Yeah.
Because here's the danger. If someone withholds information and we give them advice based on the information that they share, and then something happens, they
Mhm.
would want to hold us accountable and say, you gave me bad advice. Well,
Mm.
I gave you advice based on what you gave me. You gave me bad information. You
Yep.
withheld information. So you got a little piece based on the little piece that you gave me.
Yeah.
If you wanted the full Monty, then you got to be willing to get naked.
Exactly, exactly. And I think that there's a lot of fear, anger, shame, guilt around the money piece. And yet it's the very thing. It's like I have had seasons in my life where I looked at my debt load and there's that like, I don't want to look at it. I don't want to look at it. I don't want to look at it. Well, you've lost all your power. You have given all of your power to that debt if you're unwilling to get naked, and it might be painful, like to really take a look at what are the numbers. So Donna, I know that you create that safe place, and they do need to get real and naked with their numbers so that you can really serve them. And because we don't know where we can go until we know where we are, right? Like we know if we're going to go, if I'm in Colorado and I want to go to California, I can't tell the GPS like give me directions to California. It'll say like it gives that notice, like, will it allow the GPS to know where I am right now? And if I say no, then there are no directions.
Exactly.
There are no direction. You got to know where you are, right? And so I love that you talked about that. And it's vulnerable work you do. It's vulnerable.
Here's the thing, and you know, when I work with people, they understand that I don't judge, and I need
Yeah.
to make it very clear that what you're giving me is data. This
Yeah.
is just data for me to use to get you where you want to be. And I understand that they're feeling vulnerable and uncomfortable and all that stuff. But all I'm looking at is information. What can I do with this
Yeah.
information? How can I structure it, massage it? Here's another thing.
Yes.
A lot of times we look at our expenses when people are building their budgets. They say, okay, I expect to generate maybe 10,000 in revenue, and my expenses are 8,000 or whatever, and I got 2,000 left. When their
Mhm.
expenses are really more, because what they do not take into consideration is what it's going to cost them in taxes, and what they're also not taking into consideration is cash flow. You may have expenses, but you also have debt that you're servicing. So when I
Right.
work with someone, I look at two things. I look at what your operating cost is, and then what your debt service is. What is your cash flow? So you need cash flow, your coaching program. Okay, it may be an expense, but if you run a monthly payment plan, you that's cash flow.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
And so
Cash flow is queen.
yeah, no, I say profit is queen. Cash
Yeah.
might be king,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
profit
yeah.
is queen, because
Yeah.
without her,
Yeah,
you have nothing. No king.
absolutely. I would yeah, I would love to go back and because you brought up the, idea of paying yourself first, and I can remember when I first opened so my first, work was chiropractic. I was a once and always I'm still a chiropractor, I just don't actively practice, and I remember in opening my first chiropractic practice, and, I'll tell you, Donna, invested. I invested in myself. I invested in a coach right out of the gate. I could have been that person that says, I can't pay myself. But you know what? I figured it out. And so I do think that there is something like stepping into a business, knowing that you are investing for the long haul. And I don't know about you, but, and I would love your opinion on this, but it seems like this is going to be a generalization, but it seems like a lot of women look at investment as expense versus investment. Like you're investing in the future of your business, and we talked just a wee bit about that, and when we were in the green room. But can you talk about like that idea of investing in a coach and support versus expense? Because I think it's a distinction that's really important.
It is. And before we get to that, the thing about paying yourself first, I no longer use that term pay yourself first because I
Okay.
think what happens is a lot of entrepreneurs, when they're not able to pay themselves first, they don't pay themselves at all.
Yeah.
So I say pay yourself always.
Beautiful.
So if the math ain't mathing, there's sometimes you cannot pay yourself first, but you can pay yourself always. You make a
I love that.
decision how much you're going to transfer into your personal account every month. I don't care if it's $100 or $1,000. It's a mindset thing for you to understand that you deserve to be paid. And there's
Mhm.
several ways of paying yourself without actually writing a paycheck. You can reimburse yourself for expenses that your personal expenses that your personal resources that you're using in your business. That's a way of compensating yourself because if you're using your phone, your auto, all those things in your business, you're spending that money, you're outlaying that cash personally. What about if your business takes the expense by you reimbursing yourself and you get your cash back into your personal account? That's a way of compensating yourself.
Mm.
So
I
there's
love
some
that. I actually put it down in the chat, pay yourself always. Because
pay
you're right.
yourself
We
always.
always hear pay yourself first. And now that with that distinction, what I'm hearing you say is what I did early on in my chiropractic practice is I always paid myself.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I'm so
Don't let
glad
money
you brought
go
that up.
without giving yourself something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Pay yourself. Now, the thing about what we were talking about earlier, the difference between an expense and an investment. And I'm
Yes, I want to talk about that.
because someone who I'm considering working with, one of the questions he asked me was, well, how am I going to pay for this? I'm already at a negative cash flow. My expenses are more than my revenue. I said, I understand, but do you understand why that's the case? He said, yes, I need help to structure my business and price my products and my services so that I can generate more revenue. And I said, well, how long have you been waiting to do that? He said, about 2 years. And I said, okay. What's been holding you up? I don't have the money. I said, well, this can go on for 10 years or more
Yeah.
if you don't have the money. This is the time, if you really believe in your abilities to do this work and to make a difference and to earn this revenue, this is when you invest
Mm.
in your business and yourself. This money to hire the right person to help you
Yeah.
cannot come from operating funds because it just isn't there. Where else can the money come from? You can do it on credit. You can take it from savings.
Yeah.
Yes. When I last year I needed to really invest in marketing my business, I
Hmm.
took it from my investment account
Yeah.
because I believed in me and what I have to offer. And I know the only thing that was stopping me was people knowing more about me, visibility. Within
Mm.
the past year, I can guarantee you more people know about Donna McPherson than knew before a year ago
Yeah.
because I invested in visibility and in marketing.
I love that, and I think it's so important. And I think about the educations that we get for our licensing and schooling, and we invest, right? And then
Investment. We all
and
do.
then yeah, and then some for some people when it comes to their business, they can be really fearful to putting that money down. And I love what you said. You're investing in yourself. In fact, I think that going into business is the best personal growth and development investment you could ever make. And I look at the people that I've invested in, the programs that I invested in. Did they all have an ROI? No, they didn't.
Not
But
yet, but they
not
make
yet.
it from.
Exactly, exactly. And you know what? As business owners, we make some mistakes along the way. But if we stand on the
Yeah.
sidelines and we're not in the game and we're playing small, we waste a lot of talent. We waste a lot of grit and hard work, and you don't need to. Being in business, you need support. You need support right out of the gate. And so I love the way you language that is you're paying and investing in you,
Yeah.
and it's required if to play the big game. If we're really talking about a million, and again, the million is we're just using it loosely
Yeah.
now. But if
Yeah.
you're ready to play a big game, it's going to require collaboration and connection and relationship building and investments.
Yeah. And you're right. The million is a big game.
It
And
is.
a million doesn't necessarily mean that you will have $1 million in income for yourself. Just be clear about that. So
Exactly.
start with the income that you want for yourself.
Yeah, I love that. That's a
And
beautiful
then reverse engineer what it
Yep.
takes and who you need to be on your team. And this is when you stop spending money irrationally. Because if your goal is to pay yourself 300,000, you may realize that okay, I need staffing, I may need an infrastructure to deliver my work, I may need to promote and all those things, and all of that may be 150,000. So now, and then including tax and all that stuff. So now
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
know my goal is really 450,000
Yeah.
in order
Yeah.
to know. So let me give you an example. There's this young lady I worked with. She had just finished, she's a psychologist, and she had just went out on her own. And she was really, she said she was scared because she worked for a university where everything was provided for her.
Hmm.
And now she's going out on her own. She had to pay for her own health insurance, vacations, phones, all of this stuff. And we worked together. I said, okay, how much money do you want to accumulate in 10 years? At first, she was like, I'm a little confused. And she actually said, I'm a little annoyed with you for asking me that. You know, I'm new to business. What are you going to ask me?
Oh,
And
yes.
then when she called me, I said, you're a psychologist and I'm annoying you. Okay. And I said, I really want to know because doing business is not just to meet day-to-day expense. You should have a bigger goal. And she said, if I can accumulate $1 million in 10 years, I would be excited.
Hmm.
I said, okay. What we worked out is she needed to save around 100,000, a little under.
Hmm.
So based on her lifestyle expenses and what she needed to put into her business, because it's a service-based business, it didn't need a lot of expenses. She needed to generate $250,000 a year,
Okay.
accumulate $1 million in 10 years. No, that's doable.
Totally doable. And that's where the numbers, you crunching it,
We
right?
can
And reverse engineering
certainly-
it. Yeah.
yeah. I said, well,
Yeah.
you got to raise your fees by $30. She's like, oh, I'm not sure I can do that. She
Yeah.
did. I said, well, go
Yeah.
out and try it. Right now, you've
Yeah.
got clients. Don't raise it on any of the current ones, but any of the new ones, raise it. She went out and she came back the next session and said, I got two clients at the new rate.
Beautiful. Hashtag give yourself a
On
raise.
for
Yes.
$5 million, not in revenue,
Yeah.
in actual savings in an investment account in 10 years. In fact, she took the plan to her financial advisor to share
Yeah.
it with him so he can begin. So I say that to
Beautiful.
say, don't focus on the million, focus on what your personal goal is. And
Yeah.
maybe you need $1 million to achieve it, and maybe you don't.
Yeah, yeah. And I think everyone, everyone's different. And what I also like to look at, what do you want your lifestyle to look at? I was talking to someone yesterday, and my gosh, this woman has checked all the boxes in terms of business success. I mean, a dream list of what she's been able to accomplish. And she's at a point now where she's going, oh my gosh, I don't want to travel that much. I don't want to have to be on TV so much and this and that. And she said, I just want to hike more.
Yeah, yeah,
Right. And so here's a woman that way surpassed 1 million. And so I think that we also want to look at, as we're building out these ideal businesses, what's going to make you happy? Like,
yeah,
what is your day? What a day in a life in Donna? Like what is that? What is the life
yeah.
look like? Because you know what? Who knows how long we're here, right? And so I think that
And
sometimes
listen,
that gets lost. It can get
yeah,
lost in translation as you build out this dream. Don't forget the you in it in the day to day.
yeah, yeah. And when you see someone soaring and doing 1 million, 2 million, 3 million, that's their goal based on the life they want to have. And
Yes.
maybe you can have that too, but just stop for a moment and understand what goes into that. So
Yeah.
you don't get halfway and become discouraged because it seems unattainable.
Yeah.
Be clear that you have the ability and the capacity and the longevity to play that game. That is
Yeah.
not an easy game.
It's not. And it's not easy. Like, let's just be real. It's not easy. As we all have heard, there is no overnight success. I mean, it's so I look at some of my role models, and then I look at their history, and you go back, whether it's on YouTube, like you get a sense of like where they were, and you really realize, you go, okay, ask yourself, would you really want this whole journey? Because you can't just take the little post or the little story or the article that was just written about them. Like, we are whole beings, holistic beings. And so yeah. Yeah. So as you explore, what is it that you want to create and reverse engineer it with Donna and all the numbers. And I love that you just, even like the little things of a $30 raise over 10 years. And again, and you keep on like just little things and you pay yourself always. That is the marathon we're running. We're not sprinting in business. We're
Yeah.
here to, for the long haul, because most businesses aren't going to be here in 5 years plus. Right. So I love that you simplify the numbers. I love that you love the numbers so that you can partner with someone like me that, unless we're talking like that initial, like, what are you going to charge for something and all of that? Like, at the end of the day, it's like you're doing a lot of that outer and the structure, and I'm doing a lot of that inner. And man, power, collaboration. That's what I'm talking about.
Yes.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yes.
So there's one other story that I remember you told me once. I'm not sure if you'd be willing to share, but I think it would speak to a lot of listeners. And that is around the story that you had when you had your real wake up call. And I think it was around, maybe, I don't remember if it was with your restaurant, but you got real naked and real with the numbers, and where some of the things, the expenses were just not sustainable. Would you be
Oh,
willing to share that?
it's when we had the restaurant.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. Now I had already gone through my initial rookie mistakes of starting a business without a plan for how I was going to generate revenue.
Yeah.
And so when we started the restaurant, we surely had a plan for how we were going to generate revenue. But what we didn't really understand, what we anticipated was based on other people's business other people's restaurant, which was different for us. And this is what happens with entrepreneurs a lot. We see someone else doing something and we believe we can do the same thing
Right.
without understanding what it took for them to do that. And so, a little over 3 months into the business, we're sitting there operating at a loss. Everybody's getting paid but us. And I was like, this cannot happen. I am not willing to work this hard because restaurant work is hard.
Really hard.
I am
Yeah.
not willing to work this hard and not have a paycheck, not for another month. So I created another service, which was a monthly brunch using, we already had staff willing to work. We already had food stuff. It was just creating and promoting. And
Mm.
that entire top level revenue and paid ourselves. And then we started creating other events because when one thing works,
Yes.
you can multiply it. So we started multiplying it, and that was how we were able to pay ourselves and run that restaurant really successfully and sold it in 7 years at 300% return on our investment.
Beautiful.
Buying something that works.
Beautiful. I'm going to hashtag here or right here in the chat, multiply what works. That's great wisdom there. Spoken right from Donna. Multiply what
Yeah.
works, and that's what you did.
Yeah.
So I know that you've got a gift that you would love to share with those who are listening. Tell us a little bit about that. And yeah.
Yeah. Before I get into the gift, I just want to reiterate because I do not want anyone to think that we're not promoting women business owners achieving $1 million.
Oh, not at all. We're all about it. Yes.
But I also want to make it very clear that less than 2% of women are earning six figures. So it's a real big stretch. So don't be discouraged if you're not getting there. The women that are doing that or the people that are doing that, they are doing phenomenal work. They are giving a lot. They are doing all of the right things. You might get there, but it may take a little longer. So don't be discouraged. Just focus on what's right for you.
Yes.
Understand your numbers, know your money numbers. And with that said, I have a gift for you to help you understand your numbers. It's called, you can go to five, the number, not the number, spell it out, 5moneynumbers.com. I share 5 numbers that every entrepreneur who wants to have a profitable business should know and who wants to have personal fulfillment through their business. They should know these numbers.
Beautiful. Thank you, Donna. So I put it down all spelled out, 5moneynumbers.com. Did I get that right?
Yes, 5moneynumbers.com.
I love it. And where are you most active on social, or how can people follow you? So we've got that, but how else can they learn more about you and your business?
You can follow me on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on Instagram, and on TikTok. They're all in my name except TikTok. I am the Profit Queen.
The Profit Queen and TikTok. All right. So we got the Queen. I knew we had that Queen thing going on. I knew it. I knew it. Not to.
And of course, you can check out my website,
Yes.
DonnaMcPhersonCPA.com.
Beautiful. Well, Donna, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom and being willing to get naked. You know, like right here, tell the truth,
I love
dispel the
it.
lies, because it's real talk, and we need to really get real with our numbers and visions, and have a plan, create a plan. And then I love to do the side of the inner work, the inner alignment. Like, you know, who do you need to be to get you to that next level? And I'm a real big proponent of presence. Get real present. Get still, right? Because if you're just in the hamster wheel, go, 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 you're not taking the time to be present. And so as we wrap up today, I didn't even introduce myself in the beginning. I'm Dr. Kelly Shue, the Worth and Wealth Alchemist, here to align you with your self-worth, to create that quantum leap in your wealth. And thank you for your time. And we would love to know in the comments below what you thought. We'd love some thumbs up, some hearts, whatever you got going for us. We love to know. Yes. And with that, we say good night, good day. Ta-ta.
Thank you so much, Kelly. This was great.
Absolutely.
Yeah.